All right, everyone. Want to give an update on kind of the storms that experienced earlier today and talk about the chances for what we can expect with possible more thunderstorms could be coming in for tomorrow and for Thursday. I'm meteorologist Matt Huffner, joined with the chief, Jamie Warner. Jamie, kind of what are your initial thoughts on the storms we saw earlier today?
This is one of those events that I think that probably caught most everybody by surprise to some degree. I mean, the expectation was there for a risk of severe weather, a risk of wind gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour, a limited risk of a tornado, the possibility of some spotty hail. All that was talked about. It's just that this thing overperformed, and it overperformed because basically this system kind of evolved into something that was able to generate stronger winds and a higher risk of tornadoes than was expected. If we go, I think you're showing maybe radar right now.
Yeah, this is actually. Let me switch it back to kind of what happened earlier.
So this is this morning. You can see that's 7 o'clock. Now at 7 o'clock. We expected that. We expected a line of strong to severe storms to be coming in out of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma. You can see that orange polygon right there. That was, when you see that orange polygon, that means there's a tornado possible with the severe thunderstorm. Then we've got a tornado warned section of the line coming into areas south of Joplin. So at that point, everything is kind of going as expected. But what happened is, as we got closer to 9 o'clock, you could see that portion of the line, and it's what's called a line echo wave pattern, and it's an S shape. And so when we get to this stage, you see this portion of the line, which is oriented across Lawrence County from northwest to southeast. So it's oriented from Lockwood down to Aurora. And once that part of the line got oriented in that fashion, winds aloft, what we call the shear, that shear was generally out of the southwest. And at that point, the atmospheric winds are really able to get a hold of that portion of the line that's oriented northwest to southeast and cause it to surge to the northeast. That's what happens as the line moves into Greene County. So as we move that forward through 9 o'clock, as that line was moving into Springfield, notice how that portion of the line is surging northeast across Greene County. And on the northern end of that, what's called a comma head develops. That comma head, when you have a bowing line of storms, there's rotation in that comma head. That's what's moving across the airport and then across Willard. Sometimes you can get tornadoes that develop from the comma head of this portion of the line. There was a tornado that likely touched down toward Fremont Hills. So we've got different mechanisms going on. Basically, what this is, though, is a bowing line of storms surging across Greene County. And within that, you have a risk of strong straight-line winds and brief tornado touchdowns. And that's exactly what we found as it moved across Greene County. In fact, we were, as I was talking earlier in the meeting, we were kind of in that sweet spot. Because there's an evolution to a line of storms like this. And we just happen to be in that zone when the line was sort of peaking out in intensity and potential wind and wind damage and tornado risk as it was moving across Greene County. And boy, did we get some wind out of it.
91 mile per hour gusts. I was kind of reaching out to the National Weather Service. We did a little bit of research. I believe that is the second fastest wind report that has ever been recorded out of kind of the Springfield Weather Office. The only time that it's been beat is when they got hit with the tornado back in 71. That's the only time that we've gotten winds faster than that. It was really straight line winds were a big damage that has been really impacting a lot of people. If I can pull up kind of the power outage map, it is almost 6 o'clock now. So those storms happened 9, 10 o'clock. We are well past that, and nearly 50,000 people in Greene County.
Power outages in that map, how the power outages follow the wind damage.
Yeah.
Follow where that line of storms was bowing out across southwest Missouri into the Springfield area. This is probably the biggest wind event for Springfield since it was late July of 2023. It was the middle of a Sunday night. We had a big windstorm that moved across southwest Missouri with a line of storms, and we had some 70 mile per hour plus gusts out of that. I had tree damage from that event, and it was pretty widespread in the Springfield area. I think I think this may be at least as bad, possibly a little bit worse, at least for Springfield.
I remember that because that was like my second or third week working
Mm-hmm.
here. I was like, oh, okay, hello.
Yeah. And you mentioned the 91 mile per hour gusts out at the airport. That was at the airport. I don't believe that was widespread.
No, I think most of town probably saw what 60 to 70.
I would say 60 to 70. I think that there were probably locally higher gusts in the 70 to 80 mile per hour range across Springfield. This was a widespread, long-lasting wind event. I think this is a borderline derecho event for Southwest Missouri. We were looking at, something similar happened back in May of 2009. I think it was May 8th, 2009.
Let me see if I can pull that
That
up.
was a big, one of the worst derechos that's been experienced in southern Missouri. That one produced a broad swath of 60 to 80 mile per hour winds that cut from west to east, just north of Highway 60. Lots of wind damage. That one took down the TV tower over in Joplin. Gusts, I think, over 100 miles per hour with that one over in Joplin. Widespread wind damage and numerous tornadoes, too, out of that event. But this one, while maybe not as strong as that event, is probably very similar in nature.
Definitely straight line winds were a big issue, what people had. We have more opportunities of thunderstorms. I think what we got earlier today is probably going to be the worst wave of it. If you remember back to Easter weekend, we had thunderstorms for Friday, for Saturday, and Sunday. And that whole time we said, wait for round 3 on Sunday. That's when it's going to be bad. That's when we had those 8 confirmed tornadoes. Almost this first wave of what we got earlier today, I think that's going to be the worst. So we still have opportunities. We're not completely into the clear. And kind of that storm chance that we have, this is what's going to be highlighted for tomorrow.
Yeah, and talking about tonight before we get to tomorrow, it looks like for tonight, we've got another round of rain coming into southwest Missouri right now. That's going to continue to work over the atmosphere. I mean, these storms that came through this morning really worked over the atmosphere in southern Missouri, and that outflow boundary pushed across northern Arkansas. More rain is coming in out of Oklahoma into southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. That's going to continue to work over the atmosphere, and it's also likely going to reinforce that boundary that is now developed or been pushed to the south into northern Arkansas, that runs from maybe the Fort Smith area up toward maybe the Cherokee Village area. This round that we see this evening, I don't expect anything severe out of it.
Yeah.
The model guidance has suggested that maybe we get a bit more instability developing north across northwestern Arkansas, possibly into maybe McDonald County in southwest Missouri. This would be very late tonight. So there may be another big complex of rain and thunderstorms that spreads in from Oklahoma after midnight. And if there is a bit more instability that develops near I-49, there may be a somewhat heightened risk for wind again with that round of storms, and also the possibility of maybe a brief tornado. I think that's sort of worst case scenario. I think my gut tells me that what will actually happen is this round of rain that we're getting this evening will tend to keep that atmosphere worked over. We're going to get another round of rain and thunderstorms after midnight, but I think we're going to be able to keep most of that sub-severe.
You're seeing it right here. It's obviously, if the atmosphere is more worked over, if the round of thunderstorms are about to get spilling right now, this model isn't really picking up. This is Tuesday at 5 p.m. You compare what this model is saying. It has things pretty quiet, closer to the I-49 corridor, and when you actually look at what's happening right now, that's not really initializing too well. So you can't take this model one for one.
That's a great point. So that's what you're telling the folks is I mean, that's something that we are looking for. When we're looking at model guidance, we don't just go, well, that's what the model said, so that's what it's going to be. We're looking to see if it makes sense.
Once we forecast it at 6, if we just had this model forecast for the next 10 minutes, it's going to be off, because it's not picking up on the amount of thunderstorms that are spilling across Oklahoma. So this is kind of almost a worst case scenario, but it's a scenario that we need to be prepared for.
And what you're saying is that this evening round of rain, I mean, that keeps the atmosphere worked over. When we say it's worked over, what we mean by that is it's kind of used up a lot of the instability. There's still a little bit of low-level instability. There's still a little bit. But it's not the degree that we had this morning. And I think oftentimes when you have this sort of setup, we're going to get more rain and thunder overnight tonight. but I think we're probably going to be able to keep that severe weather risk to a minimum. And probably if we see it, it's going to be down toward northwest Arkansas into northeast Oklahoma. But that's tonight. And then
Yeah.
as we look ahead to tomorrow, I think we get a lull in the action during the morning hours. And then here comes another risk of thunderstorms, some of which could be severe because it looks like that boundary that's been forced to the south across northern Arkansas, well, that will kind of weaken, and we'll see the overall boundary lift back to the north. Well, that puts us back in the warm sector. And it looks like as the core of this storm system, which is still right now in the southwest, it'll be moving into western Oklahoma by the end of the day tomorrow. So the wind fields are going to strengthen a bit as that approaches. And I think that we may be looking at a setup where we see another line of strong to severe storms that develops somewhere over western Missouri and northwest Arkansas, and then spreads east through the remainder of our area during the afternoon into the evening. I think given the overall setup and the amount of instability, I don't expect a huge severe weather day, but I do think it's a day where we could find pockets of wind damage, possibly some spotty hail, maybe up to quarter size, and I think that there will be a limited risk for tornadoes again tomorrow afternoon into the evening.
Active, thunderstorms for this morning hour, more thunderstorms about to spill into the I-49 corridor. Those aren't looking too severe. Those aren't looking too scary. Have to watch that wave of thunderstorms that could be forming after midnight. This is just a fun little side thing that we have going on. We're almost approaching a foot of rain for April. I was looking earlier. We have only gotten a foot of rain 11 times.
And that's in any month.
In any month in the last, how far back is our records go?
1888.
1888. So in 1888, you got 12 months a year, only 11 times we've picked up a foot of rainfall, and spitting distance away and expecting we pick that up for tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's just, I think that 11.86 was through 10 a.m. The observation site at the airport's been down.
So it took a hit. It took a hit, just like everyone else took a hit earlier.
I wonder what are they going to do, tonight into tomorrow, because, it does matter when you are getting close to record rainfall. That matters. Are we going to be able to record that accurately? Hopefully we are. It looks like, Matt, with us almost at a foot, 12.15 inches is the most ever recorded in April. That was back in 1945. I think that, you're talking less than a half an inch off.
I think we get that.
I think we're going to get that tonight and tomorrow night. We're going to get it with the waves of rain that we're going to find move across the area. In fact, just looking at the forecast guidance, with these waves of thunderstorms, we could pick up another 1 to 3 inches of rainfall before midnight tomorrow night.
I think the thing that stops us is if National Weather Service rain gauge isn't working. I think that's what we have to worry about, is if the rain gauge is taken out today, if kind of the damage. But I think that's the only thing that stops us from officially picking up over a foot, as we still have a couple more chances of thunderstorms.
And of course, Matt, with all this rainfall, flooding is still a concern. We're still looking at a risk of creek and river flooding. I'm sure they're running fast again now with the rain that we had this morning. And additional waves of storms will continue to cause those creeks to remain high and rivers to continue to head higher. And I think also you'll have a risk of some flash flooding in there. Now that we've kind of resaturated the soils, we could see some flash flooding concerns with these multiple waves of thunderstorms that are going to be moving through.
All right, that's what we're tracking so far. We're going to continue to provide you guys updates. Of course, if there's a tornado warning, we will be live. You can get us on ozarksfirst.com. You can get us on Color 10, Fox 49, KOZL, or you can also get us on our Facebook page. We're pretty good at putting out updates there. So that's all we have for right now. Expecting more thunderstorms that could be occurring for this midnight hour, more thunderstorms that could be occurring tomorrow. So we're not completely in the clear. Just keep that in mind. It's going to be an active couple days. Chief, you got anything to add?
Just that, be weather aware through Wednesday into Thursday. There's still a marginal risk for a few severe storms. This would be down toward West Plains and Mountain Home on Thursday. Chance for showers on Friday. Wouldn't be surprised if that didn't generate a little small hail.
Yeah.
And then once we get past Friday, we dry out. Looks like we get into what's called a blocky pattern. It looks like what's called an omega block develops over the United States. And when you get into these blocky patterns, if you get in the right spot, the pattern can go quiet for a while. And it looks like we may be in the right spot starting Saturday and continuing maybe through at least the middle portion next week. So at least an opportunity for quiet weather, dry weather, and let folks kind of decompress after another wave of stormy weather.
That's what we need. We're just not going to get it for the next couple days. Stay in touch. We'll have more updates for you guys. Thanks for watching.